We often think of retail trends as the result of marketing or manufacturing, but some of the most consistent data in the toy industry is actually driven by the family court system. This chart shows a consistent, decades-long correlation. When the national divorce rate rises, toy sales rise right along with it. Analysts attribute this to a surge in buyers. A single child suddenly has 4 parents and 8 grandparents, all utilizing material gifts to compete for that child's affection and time. It's a human response to relational instability. When we aren't sure where we stand with someone, we often reach for a transaction, a gift or a service, to bridge the gap and secure our position. This creates what we might call a transactional vacuum, where connection isn't grown through shared time, but is instead negotiated through an exchange of goods. This transactional logic doesn't stop at the family level. Our community institutions often try to solve the problem of loneliness by packaging connection like a high-end service. In the story of the Good Samaritan, the wounded man is left with an innkeeper. The innkeeper provides real care, bedding, food, and safety, but he does so because he is being paid a wage. When modern organizations focus entirely on customer service, they mimic the innkeeper. They fulfill their duties and maintain the facility, but they often fail to move beyond that professional exchange into something more durable. A community built on this model can look successful on paper, but it tends to feel hollow. It creates a polished environment that lacks the magnetic pull required to keep people coming back once the service is over. Walking through the deep, unplowed snow of a Chicago winter is an exhausting, bone-chilling task for a small child. Yet, one boy whose family moved across the city continued to make that long, difficult walk every Sunday just to attend his old school. When a friend asked why he didn't just attend one of the many schools closer to his new home, she pointed out that those schools were just as well equipped as his old one. The boy's decision seems to defy logic. He was choosing hardship and a long commute over a convenient, identical service right next door. His explanation was simple. They may be as good for others, but not for me, because they love a fellow over there. This suggests that humans have a radar for authenticity that operates outside the lines of convenience. Genuine affection exerts a pull that even the best customer service cannot replicate. If we compare these two models, we see a fundamental difference in how they function. One relies on a rigid flowchart of duties, while the other relies on a center of gravity. When a community is held together only by duty or service, it loses members as soon as a more convenient option appears. But the magnetic model creates a different stability. It draws people in because they feel a belonging that outweighs the logistical costs. This indicates that the long-term health of a community isn't necessarily a matter of better branding, but a matter of how well the people inside actually care for one another. To create that kind of magnetism, we have to look at the psychology of the person trying to provide the care. You cannot simply rebrand love. If a person feels the need to buy someone's affection, like the toy-buying parents, they are acting out of a sense of relational insecurity. Ultimately, you cannot offer a feeling of secure belonging to someone else if you are still operating from a place of scarcity yourself. This orphan mindset is the anxiety seen in the divorce data, a belief that affection is scarce, requiring constant transaction. The alternative is an identity-rooted insecurity, a son or daughter of a stable source. Knowing your value, you no longer use people to validate your worth. This internal shift changes the nature of the interaction. You stop being an innkeeper looking for a reward and start being someone who can offer the kind of love that boy in Chicago traveled miles to find. When that happens, the transactional vacuum begins to fill. The buildings are no longer just facilities. They become the kind of places where people walk through the snow just to be in the room.